Welcome to HFY Sci-Fi Stories. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss new stories. The Serenity's edge sailed through the void, a gleaming beacon of fragile hope. Its hull, crafted from iridescent crystal, scattered starlight in mesmerizing patterns, beauty lost on a crew consumed by political machinations. The vessel was a symbol of the Galactic Harmony Initiative, a testament to its most optimistic, perhaps naive dream, that a dozen alien species could break bread without bloodshed. Tonight's banquet marked the apex of 3 years of painstaking diplomacy, fragile accords, and reams of bureaucratic documentation that could strip a moon bare. The expansive dining hall occupied the ship's core, its intricate atmospheric system struggling to accommodate beings ranging from methane-breathing sentients to creatures who savored sulfur dioxide like a fine wine. Its construction rivaled planetary defense budgets, an irony for an occasion meant to herald the obsolescence of war. At the curve of the table, Ambassador Thex Kulvani of the Hijgamani Collective presided, his 8 limbs arranged with the deliberate grace of a being accustomed to command. His species had refined the art of condescension, a feat demanding both evolutionary predisposition and colossal arrogance. The Hijgamani had dominated this sector for millennia, cultivating an effortless superiority born of unchallenged rule. The likelihood of enduring peace, Thexani declared, his translator converting his clicks and whistles into impeccable diplomatic language, rises exponentially when each party grasps their proper place within the civilized hierarchy. A chorus of carefully neutral murmurs arose, though subtle glances hinted at the weariness many felt toward the ambassador's tiresome discourse. Captain Morvik, their Centauran host, offered a smile that appeared authentic, save for the subtle twitch of his secondary antennae, betraying his underlying stress. A most intriguing viewpoint, a voice resonated from the table's edge, inviting and comforting, imbued with a subtle accent that marked her as a relative newcomer to galactic society. Dr. Ara Blackwood sat with a disarming ease, remarkable considering she was the sole human present, a species integrated into galactic society a mere generation ago. In the intricate tapestry of galactic diplomacy, humans were an enigma. Emerging from their modest blue planet, their technology, while serviceable, was far from awe-inspiring, and their societal framework appeared bewilderingly unstructured. By galactic measures, humankind's acceptance into intergalactic society had been remarkably tranquil, mostly because they seemed happy to be earnest apprentices, absorbing knowledge from their more experienced counterparts, despite an occasional irritating habit of posing questions others had ceased considering ages ago. Thex Corvani's multifaceted eyes settled on the human, holding the calm demeanor of a tutor addressing a particularly slow student. "Dr. Blackwood, isn't it? Your species wonderfully illustrates my point. Humans have acclimated remarkably well to their designated place within our established framework." "How very perceptive," Ara responded, lifting her glass and taking a sip, radiating apparent sincerity. The drink, somehow both safe and utterly flavorless for humans, was a real achievement of chemistry over common sense. "Indeed, consider how your people have embraced their roles as researchers and support staff, rather than aspiring to positions beyond their grasp. Such admirable self-awareness." The other guests subtly shifted, recognizing the prelude to one of the ambassador's instructional monologues. Thex Corvani had become famous for decoding intricate socio-political dynamics for less developed races, though his usual audience had no choice but to listen attentively. "Your species arose on a world of limited resources and perpetual environmental adversity, the ambassador went on, gaining momentum. This fostered a survival-driven mindset, commendable in its own right, yet inherently limiting your capacity for the nuanced thought needed for galactic governance. The hegemony, in contrast, achieved civilization as your ancestors were just learning about fire. Captain Morvica's antennae pulsed now with greater intensity, radiating warnings roughly equivalent to, "Please don't spark an interspecies conflict at my dinner." He adjusted his voice, the rasp reminiscent of shifting crystal shards. "Perhaps we should turn to the vital trade negotiations. Such trivialities, Captain, yet essential. Education for all enriches us all." The Corvani dignitary's gaze remained riveted on Ara, who displayed the unwavering, beatific patience every educator craves. "Dr. Blackwood, your distinguished journey embodies this precisely. Xenobiology offers fertile ground where humanity can contribute profoundly without exceeding our inherent bounds." Ara concurred, her smile gentle but unwavering. "You are insightful. Environmental forces shape us. Relentless trials invariably mold a species." "Precisely. Your people evolve to become, the human term is scrappy, isn't it? Resilient survivors. Admirable qualities for a nascent species carving its niche within a complicated galaxy." The Trialaxian envoy, resembling a sentient arboreal philosopher, emitted a sound hinting at restrained disapproval. "Ambassador, perhaps." "Yes, please do continue, Ambassador," Elara exclaimed, her voice alight with enthusiasm. "This comparative evolutionary psychology is riveting. You, Ambassador Thex Corvani, clearly possess profound insights into species development." The ambassador's carapace puffed up proudly, a physiological response rendering him a pompous, bejeweled spider in diplomatic finery. "Indeed, our hegemony has shepherded countless species toward galactic integration. We've become adept at discerning natural potential." "And what are those telltale signs?" Ara inquired, leaning forward with the eager focus of a student poised to learn. "Intellectual sophistication, of course. Thinking in complex systems, beyond mere survival. Most crucially, the insight to recognize superior guidance." "Fascinating. Does this wisdom flourish more readily in species spared harsh evolutionary trials?" "Precisely. Our homeworld boasted abundance and serenity. We never knew the desperation that shaped lesser worlds. This fostered true philosophical depth, transcending mere cunning." "Mere cunning," Balara echoed thoughtfully, swirling her drink with a hypnotic grace. "So in your learned opinion, species forged through relentless struggle often lack philosophical refinement?" "Regrettably, yes. Survival's ingrained mental pathways often hinder higher thought. Your own martial history provides ample evidence of this limitation." A hush fell, a pregnant silence signifying dawning awareness. Captain Morvik's antennae remained still, an ominous stillness or a sign of control, depending on one's understanding of Centauran stress. "Military history," Ara repeated, her tone casual yet sharp, drawing the full attention of every soul present. "A curious avenue to explore. Human conflicts are remarkably well documented. They highlight my point beautifully. So much precious energy expended on primitive squabbles for territory and resources. The hegemony surpassed such trifles millennia ago." "How very convenient," Elara replied, a subtle edge in her voice prompting the Vorth delegate's scales to shift from tranquil blue to wary yellow. "I suppose it's hard to comprehend species who were forced to learn a different kind of lesson." Indeed. Consider your own world's recent conflicts. All that barbarity over such simple disagreements. W, she said, a hint of amusement lacing her tone. Peace is so much more appealing after a little chaos. A wave of genuine sadness washed over Morvik at the needless brutality humans displayed, despite the potential for peaceful agreements. The Earthwoman's smile deepened, reminding him unsettlingly of pre-attack footage depicting Earth's apex predators he had viewed. Actually, she purred, a playful edge in her voice. Tranquility is best appreciated following some good old-fashioned havoc. W. Ambassador, your insightful observation regarding humanity's problem-solving methods truly resonates. I've long been captivated by the diverse ways different species perceive and wield what they deem necessary force. Oh, it's not strictly necessary, is it? Thex Kulvani responded, his voice laced with the breezy self-assurance of someone shielded from genuine danger his entire life. Violence, you see, is merely the tool of unsophisticated species, those lacking the mental acuity to devise elegant solutions. Is that so? And I presume the hegemony's outreach across this sector was achieved solely through enlightened debate? The ambassador's posture subtly shifted, conveying a blend of mild condescension and strained patience. The hegemony's ascendance has been an inevitable blossoming of advanced civilizations, guiding less enlightened ones toward their rightful purpose. When species grasp the profound advantages of unity, incorporation proceeds seamlessly. When they fail to recognize such boons, targeted influence becomes requisite. Though I dare say, someone of your origins might misinterpret influence as forceful coercion. Ilara delicately placed her glass on the table, with the care one might use when setting down a volatile explosive device. My origins. Now that's an intriguing thread. Xenobiology, you mean? Hardly. Actually, I was referencing my earlier life, the one before xenobiology. The room's temperature seemed to plummet, though the climate controls continued their quiet hum, oblivious to the change. Captain Morvac emitted a soft sound, potentially a whispered prayer in his native tongue. Kulvani's tone maintained the polished curiosity ingrained by years of diplomatic training, yet his multifaceted eyes betrayed a newly sharpened focus. I was unaware you had interests in other disciplines. Occupational shifts can be wonderfully invigorating, Ara offered sweetly. Sometimes a soul simply yearns for a vocation utterly divergent from its prior endeavors. And what form did those endeavors take? The human woman's smile acquired a certain quality, stirring long dormant warning signals within the hegemony ambassador. His conscious mind wasn't quite ready to register the threat. Around the table, representatives from 11 disparate species discovered themselves holding their breath, or its anatomical equivalent, despite lacking a definitive explanation for the sudden charge in the atmosphere. Well, Ambassador, Ara purred, her voice retaining its earlier lightheartedness. Since you're so openly inquiring about human methodology when confronted with challenges, I propose the core question is whether you desire the abstract response or the functional demonstration. The Scorvani's 8 limbs imperceptibly tightened, an unconscious defensive tic his species manifested upon perceiving imminent peril. I'm not sure I fully grasp the nuance. Oh, it's wonderfully simple. The theoretical answer involves exhaustive discussions of human military doctrine, strategic thought processes, and our rather unique conceptualizations of conflict resolution. The Piara paused, head tilted thoughtfully, before answering. The honest, practical answer is, I've killed things. The ensuing silence wasn't just quiet. It was an unnerving hush, the kind that descends when everyone in a room grasps a sudden, chilling realization. Even the ship seemed to fall silent, its hum diminishing as if holding its breath. Ambassador Thex Gvani stared at the human woman across from him, her posture still remarkably calm, her smile unwavering, hands serenely clasped. Deep within his sophisticated mind, primal survival instincts flared, struggling to reconcile this polite xenobiologist with the predatory stillness now enveloping her like a well-worn cloak. I beg your pardon?" he stammered, his translator unusually hesitant. "You inquired if I'd ever killed anything," Ara clarified gently. "I simply assumed you wanted a direct response." The silence lingered, thick and heavy, broken only by a soft chime. The Trialaxian delegate checked his device, his bark-like skin darkening to a shade of deep unease. "Dr. Blackwood," he began cautiously, his voice betraying a newfound fear. "I'm receiving some updated information regarding your history." AR arched a brow, feigning mild curiosity. "How delightful! Though accuracy is key, isn't it? Galactic archives have a rather spotty record concerning humankind." Captain Morvitz's hands instinctively danced toward his comm, a flurry of worried movement as he suddenly questioned his dinner guest. The screen's cold light painted his face, amplifying his growing unease. "According to Centauri military intelligence," he began, the words weighted with dread. "Dr. Ara Blackwood, xenobiologist, was once Lieutenant Commander R. Blackwood of the Terran Defense Corps." He paused, his secondary antennae fluttering a frantic rhythm of deep anxiety. "Call sign, Nightshade." The room didn't physically cool, but a primal chill settled over those present, a visceral sensation akin to the emptiness of space itself. Ambassador Thex Corvani's multifaceted eyes locked onto the human, a gaze of intense scrutiny that hinted at a potential danger, though years of diplomacy masked his true thoughts. "That's an old ghost," Alara murmured, dismissing the mention with a gentle wave of her hand. "Ancient history, really. I haven't answered to that name in ages." The Voran delegate's scales rippled through the spectrum, settling on a particularly vivid shade of orange, a clear indicator of existential dread tinged with morbid fascination. "The database indicates your involvement in the Kepler 442b incident." "Involved is such a bloodless term," Ara countered, savoring another sip of her doctored drink. "I prefer to think of it as creative problem-solving under extreme pressure." Captain Morvik's fingers flew across his console, the screen flickering with classified military files, records far beyond his usual access, yet now seemingly declassified in real time by an automated system suddenly prioritizing transparency over security. It details the neutralization of an entire hegemony occupation force by a single human operative. The ambassador's 8 limbs instinctively tightened, forming a defensive posture, despite his logical mind screaming that the database must be flawed. "Impossible! Kepler 442b was defended by 200 of our elite military personnel." 237, actually, Ara corrected softly, though I always include the support staff. Their contributions were equally vital, in my view. The calm precision of her correction sent a ripple of unease through the room, chilling even the dignitaries impervious to the ship's temperature. Her tone wasn't boastful, nor threatening, merely factual, as if discussing the weather or the dinner specials. "The records," Captain Morvick continued, his voice sounding strained and distant, as if narrating a nightmare, "indicate the entire operation was completed in approximately 6 hours. 6 hours and 43 minutes, Ara added helpfully. That included initial reconnaissance and equipment preparation, of course. The actual engagement was significantly shorter. Ambassador Thex Corvani's translator struggled, mangling his chittering anxieties into fragmented phrases like single operative and 237, before ultimately giving up and emitting a series of electronic warbles conveying profound bewilderment, bordering on stark terror. The crystalline delegate, silent until now because of his species' stringent atmospheric needs, began resonating at a frequency that made the silverware tremble. His translated message was starkly clear. We drastically underestimated human combat potential. "Don't beat yourselves up about that," Ara said kindly. "Human military strategy can be notoriously difficult to grasp for the uninitiated. With our peculiar problem-solving style, we perceive warfare unlike many species." The Trialaxian delegate's hue shifted to a profound purple, reflecting philosophical dread mixed with raw fear. "How so?" Captain Morv inquired, his voice betraying a reluctance to truly know. Ara set down her drink, reclining with the ease of someone about to discuss a cherished pastime. "We discovered early on that overwhelming force isn't always the solution. Sometimes it's more effective to eliminate the problem." The words lingered, a chilling virus injecting unease. Ambassador Thex Corvani's survival instincts overwhelmed his diplomatic training. His posture mirrored that of his species fleeing natural disasters. "Eliminate them," he repeated, his translator struggling to convey hopeful misunderstanding. Take Kepler 442b. The Hijgamani established a research station on a supposedly uninhabited world. Unfortunately, it housed beautiful crystalline beings in a dormant phase. The crystalline delegate's resonance climbed, vibrating the hull, a chorus of sonic screams. The facility disrupted their regeneration, Ara continued casually. The locals sought help through proper channels, but the Hijgamani's response was inadequate. "We offered fair compensation," Dex Corvani feebly protested, his eyes betraying forgotten details. "Fair compensation?" Elara echoed thoughtfully. "Ah, yes. The exact phrase. Acceptable losses for scientific progress. Genocide is the more accurate term." The word detonated, spreading waves of shock. Delegates frantically accessed communication devices, undoubtedly advising threat-level reassessments regarding humanity. The Terran Defense Corps, however, chose a different solution, Ara continued, her tone as pleasant as describing a favorite meal. "I volunteered, fascinated by the plight. The philosophical weight of this," Captain Morvick's voice trailed off, a ghostly echo in the grand hall. "Indeed," Ambassador Thex Corvani responded, his posture mirroring a prey animal facing down a predator, though sheer diplomatic will kept him rooted in place. "The Hijgamani believed their dominance was ensured through sheer firepower and advanced technological conclusion, given past triumphs." "And your strategy?" Ara countered, a subtle smirk playing on her lips. "I merely proved that even the mightiest weapons are useless if you lack the means to deploy them effectively." Her smile deepened, casting a shadow that seemed to drain the light from the room. "It's remarkable how vulnerable a seemingly impregnable fortress becomes when visited by a lone, determined individual, during the quiet hours. A wave of unsettling understanding crashed over the dignitaries, a chilling premonition of what lay ahead. The Voran representative's scales displayed a hue absent from any diplomatic chart, a raw, uncivilized emotion on full display. "You breached a military installation," the Trialaxian delegate stammered, the patterns etched on his bark-like skin shifting as his perception of reality crumbled. "Breached? Such a harsh word. I prefer to think of it as a spontaneous, unsanctioned assessment," Ara quipped, casually sipping her drink, seemingly unconcerned by the psychological unraveling around her. Their security was laudable, meticulously designed to repel conventional military assaults. Regrettably, they failed to account for unconventional problem-solving. Unconventional? Captain Morvix's voice was a hollow whisper, a man confronting the shattering of his worldview. Adaptability is our strength. We humans evolved on a world that constantly sought our demise, forcing us to improvise, to envision solutions others overlook. The ambassador's translator sputtered, finally forming a comprehensible phrase. "What is the facility's current status?" "Oh, it remains. A truly breathtaking locale, particularly during the binary sunset. The Hegemony forces, however, suddenly discovered pressing matters elsewhere." Ara's expression softened, reminiscent of someone fondly recalling a treasured memory. Driven by purpose, the entire military contingent of 237 souls mobilized with astonishing speed. The crystalline delegate's voice, once pure, now echoed with a mournful undercurrent, a harmonic dirge that chilled the air. Ara interjected, her tone heavy, though not all completed their relocation. The silence resonated, then shattered by the delicate chorus of countless comm devices blaring warnings across the galaxy. Governments scrambling to revise their understanding of human power. It was a bizarre, mournful symphony for shattered galactic assumptions. Ambassador Thex Corvani fixed his gaze on the petite human, her tone as casual, describing the obliteration of a military operation, as if discussing her roses. "A xenobiologist," he whispered, as if that single word could restore the cosmos to order. "Indeed," Ara replied brightly. "Career shifts are invigorating, and the move from warfare to research has been seamless. The skill sets overlap more than one might guess." The Vorth's delegate scales displayed a complex pattern of warning, undoubtedly directed at anyone contemplating challenging this unassuming scientist. "How so?" he inquired. "Both demand meticulous observation, strategic insight, and the ability to mitigate problems before they escalate. The crucial difference? Xenobiology usually involves subjects that don't return fire." She paused, a hint of reminiscence coloring her smile. "Usually." Ambassador Thex Gvani's multifaceted eyes glazed over, reflecting a world collapsing. His 8 limbs spasmed erratically, his nervous system battling the implausible. "Dr. Blackwood," he stammered, his translator struggling. "Surely this alters our discussion fundamentally, doesn't it?" Ara tilted her head, genuinely curious. "I believed we were enjoying a fascinating discourse on evolution and species development. The real-world applications merely underscore the theoretical concepts. Wouldn't you agree?" The Trialaxian delegate's bark-like skin shifted to a hue unrecorded in any text, a shade representing a psychological state his species was never meant to endure. "You recount the obliteration of a whole military base as casually as you'd explain some lab experiment." Actually, Ara mused, a hint of detached curiosity in her voice. In some ways, that's precisely what it amounted to. A real-world study of human military strategies, meticulously observed and guided. Despite the challenging circumstances, the information obtained was crucial in perfecting our handling of parallel events. A noise escaped Captain Morvik, perhaps a suppressed sob in his own tongue. Parallel events indeed. The Kepler 442b affair was not isolated, simply the most meticulously chronicled thanks to the Hijgamani's meticulous data logging. Ara's lips curved with the warm remembrance of a spectacularly successful test. The Vega Collective possessed similar techniques to upset the migratory patterns of the local hive mind organisms. The Orion Syndicate engaged in rather forceful resource extraction within the Proxima system. The Alter Republic's encroachment into the neutral zone necessitated revisions. The chamber fell silent, amplifying the ship's life support systems into something akin to factory noise. Numerous delegates worked feverishly at their terminals, presumably warning their superiors about the implications of what was being disclosed. Each scenario demanded tailored solutions, Ara said, in a conversational manner. The Vega Collective responded favorably to financial constraints after unexpected setbacks impacted their key profit centers. The Orion Syndicate demanded more direct action after their mining installations suffered recurrent breakdowns. The Alter Republic, she paused, her face softening, proved exceptionally persistent. It took almost a quarter of a year before their occupying forces determined that prolonged leave was superior to ongoing service. Ambassador Thex Corvani's self-preservation reflexes utterly superseded his diplomatic protocols. Are you suggesting humanity has been waging clandestine warfare across the galaxy? Clandestine? Ara asked, seemingly confused. Oh, I wouldn't classify it as clandestine. We submitted all required documents to the Galactic Harmony Initiative. Maybe your civilization's administrative departments have yet to process the paperwork. The crystalline delegates' vibratory signatures peaked at levels that caused the ship's structure to hum in harmonious discord, like a cosmic wail. Translated, his statement was elegantly concise. The forms were categorized as scientific exploration and intercultural exchange initiatives. Precisely. Ilara shone at him with the pride of an instructor whose student had at last mastered a tough topic. Bureaucracy is such a marvel, so methodical, so structured. You'd be surprised what can be accomplished when you familiarize yourself with the correct procedures. Captain Morvik's upper limbs flew over his terminal with the frantic focus of a person seeking to avert a galactic crisis. Dr. Blackwood, are you positing that what we have perceived as humanity's joining galactic society has been a well-planned act of war? Act of war? Rose exclaimed, acting surprised. Oh, good heavens no, Captain. That's far too blunt. Humankind discovered ages past that forceful warlike answers frequently pale beside deep structural resolutions. The Voran delegate's scales rippled, forming an intricate pattern like an urgent warning. Something akin to danger. Reality as you perceive it could be true. Systemic solutions. Examine the data. Ara leaned back, a subtle smile playing on her lips, ready to unveil a captivating truth. Humans have only been part of the galactic tapestry for about 25 standard years, yet they've remarkably established research facilities in every major system, diplomatic posts along every key trade route, and cultural exchange programs with every species of note. Her words lingered, heavy with unspoken implications, a form of subtle psychological warfare. A collective dawning spread among the delegates, a realization that their comprehension of recent galactic events needed a dramatic overhaul. That does seem exceptionally thorough, the Trialaxian delegate conceded, his coloration shifting with the weight of reassessed human interactions. Doesn't it? Ara agreed, almost merrily. Though it could be chance. Humans are naturally inquisitive. They get around. Ambassador Thex Kovani's limbs formed a protective posture, usually reserved for existential crises. Dr. Blackwood, are you suggesting human curiosity is intelligence gathering? Intelligence gathering feels harsh, Ara replied. We prefer enhanced cultural observation, but the effect is similar. Ulura casually sipped her drink, seemingly unaware that her relaxed disclosures were reshaping interstellar perceptions. It's surprising what you uncover when you're underestimated. The crystalline delegate's resonant frequencies plummeted, a low hum resonating through the ship, their translated message laden with understanding. Every human scientist, every human diplomat, every cultural attaché, every human janitor, food service worker, maintenance tech, Ara added helpfully. Invisible support staff are amazing, aren't they? People say the most remarkable things when they assume no one of consequence is listening. Captain Morvik's secondary antenna twitched erratically, overwhelmed. How many humans are among us? Oh, defining galactic society is key, Ara smiled, a chill settling over the room. Do we only count official roles, or those in less formal positions? The silence was profound. The quiet shattered as a chorus of alerts blared from every comm device, each galactic government receiving frantic requests to meticulously audit their human staff. The overlapping chimes formed a grim, dirge-like harmony. Less official roles, the Voran delegate stammered, his scales shifting to a shade that signaled utter despair. Freelancers, temporary staff. The galaxy teems with chances for those skilled individuals. Ara's gaze drifted thoughtfully. Consider Captain Morvik's own crew. 17 humans hold various positions, I believe. The Centurion's antennae froze, a sign of either serene calm or total system failure. 17, he croaked, his voice strained. Charming individuals each. I had such enlightening chats with them. Engineer Morrison revealed profound insights on Centaurian reactors. Communications specialist Chen unveiled incredible patterns in interstellar communications. Even med specialist Rodriguez shared fascinating supply chain observations. Her words descended on the room, a calculated psychological assault. The realization dawned. Human integration was a carefully orchestrated, pervasive campaign. Observations? Ambassador Thex Corvani whispered, his voice echoing the shock of a paradigm shattered. Humans are naturally observant, Ara replied, with the innocent fervor of one sharing a beloved pastime. Survival on our lethal homeworld demanded relentless attention to detail. The Trialaxian delegate's hue shifted to one of unwelcome epiphany. What kind of details exactly? Oh, the usual. Structural frailties, security blind spots, communication quirks, supply shortages, command structures, the psychological makeup of key figures. Ara paused, her smile tinged with wistful amusement. It's remarkable what you can discern about a civilization while emptying its trash or serving its meals. The room was hushed. The ship's life support whispered like a colossal mechanical lung. Delegates stared at their devices, their faces etched with the horrifying certainty that vital information had been overlooked. "Dr. Blackwood," Captain Morvick uttered, his voice trembling ever so slightly as if holding back a surge of dread. "Are you honestly proposing what I think you're proposing?" "Are you suggesting?" Elara began, a bewildered expression crossing her face. "Humanity has been orchestrating intelligence operations against every major galactic civilization." She paused, then continued. "Oh no, Captain. That would be so uncivilized. We've simply been observant. It's not our fault everyone else fixated on grand schemes and overlooked the minutiae." Elara leaned forward, her gaze intense. "You see, humans learned a vital lesson in our past. The deadliest predators aren't always the colossal, the mighty, or the technologically superior. Sometimes it's the ones who intimately understand their surroundings." A ripple of comprehension passed among the assembled delegates, a silent acknowledgement that the evening's revelations were far from concluded, and the most unsettling truths might still be concealed. "And what?" Ambassador Thex Corvani inquired, his voice laced with dread. "Has humanity gleaned about the galactic environment?" Elara's smile deepened, a chilling effect that seemed to resonate with the ship's very core, causing even its automated systems to pause in apprehension. "Everything," she stated simply. The word echoed, heavy with implication, permeating the dining hall and beyond, a malevolent star on the verge of implosion. Ambassador Corvani's multifaceted eyes glazed over, reflecting the dismantling of his reality. "Everything," he repeated, his translator struggling to maintain composure, emitting a sound akin to the death throes of his career. "Trade routes, military strengths, economic weaknesses, political power struggles, cultural vulnerabilities, technological reliance," Elara recited with unsettling ease. "Resource allocation networks, communication codes, power succession, historical tensions, leadership personalities, and the precise coordinates of every major military asset in this sector." The Trialaxian delegates' bark-like skin shifted to a color beyond known spectra, a manifestation of an emotion evolution had failed to prepare them for. "All of this gleaned from cultural exchange programs?" Ambassador Corvani asked, his voice barely a whisper. "Oh, much more than that," Elara chirped. "Cultural exchange was merely an entry point. You would be surprised by what a multifaceted approach can achieve. Take your government, Ambassador." The Hijgamani representatives arranged their limbs in a pattern resembling someone trying to fuse with their chair, perhaps finding solace in inanimate objects. "What about my government?" "Well, your species has such..." What intricate layers of bureaucracy, such sprawling departments, a veritable labyrinth of opportunity for those seeking purpose. R's satisfied grin hinted at a long-term investment bearing exceptional fruit. For almost 15 years, human specialists have seamlessly woven into the hegemony's very fabric. The implications of this statement rippled through the delegates, a creeping unease poisoning their thoughts. Morvk's comm crackled with insistent alerts, galactic governments demanding immediate, panicked audits. 15 years, the crystalline delegate vibrated, his resonations a cosmic lament of unwelcome truth. "Roughly. Doesn't time just vanish when you're enjoying yourself?" Ada took a serene sip, seemingly oblivious to the chaos her casual words unleashed, to the shattering of galactic security. Hegemony protocols ensured effortless assimilation. It's remarkable how little bureaucrats question when the forms are pristine. Ambassador Corvani's instincts finally crushed his diplomacy. Are you saying humans have infiltrated the hegemony? Infiltrated sounds so harsh. Think of it as optimized staffing, though the outcome is comparable. Ara paused, contemplative. Consider your team. Assistant Phillips manages your calendar for 3 years now. Brooks handles your coded transmissions. Even your bodyguards, so loyal, are human. The translator simply failed, emitting only static, the sound of a career imploding. Dr. Blackwood, Morvick said, his voice a tightrope walk of control teetering on madness. Are you implying these enhancements extend galaxy-wide? Implying would be an understatement. I assure you, it is verified. Ara lounged, relaxed, the picture of someone calmly presenting a complex, fascinating theorem. Humans occupy posts in the administrations, militaries, economies, and cultures of every power in the galaxy. Our investigation has been exceptionally exhaustive. The indicators on the fourth and delegate scale now formed a complex configuration, almost like an intricate white flag of parley. Just how exhaustive are we talking? Consider this. The Centuron Trade Federation. For 10 years, shipping manifests were overseen by human logistics masters. The Alter Republic's vital military chatter flowed through systems nurtured by human hands. The Orion Syndicate's treasure troves were protected by security shields woven by human minds. Even the Vega Collective's resource tides were guided by algorithms fine-tuned by human experts. She stopped, her smile taking on a quality that seemed to steal the very light from the ship. Shall I go on? The ensuing quiet cracked as a chorus of communication devices sprung to life, heralding a desperate scramble as galactic powers initiated lockdown procedures, a response already tragically late. This jarring symphony of alarms became a mournful dirge for a galaxy's vanished autonomy. What do you want? Ambassador Thex Corvani's voice echoed with the stark terror of a man discovering that everything he'd believed about interstellar affairs was no more substantial than a nursery rhyme. What? Elara feigned surprise. Oh, Ambassador, you've misunderstood entirely. Humanity desires nothing from galactic civilization. We simply seek to ensure that it continues to function. Her pronouncement landed like a suffocating psychological weight, an inescapable, permanent realization. The galaxy's perception of human integration was a shadow concealing something far deeper, irreversible. Function properly? The Trialaxian delegate echoed, his skin erupting in patterns of unwelcome epiphany. Precisely. The crux of complex systems is that they demand attentive care to thrive. Without it, civilizations often fall prey to regrettable behaviors, territorial squabbles, resource wars, technological paralysis, social divides, the typical woes that arise when thinking beings chase immediate gain over lasting harmony. Elara's gaze softened, almost motherly, like a teacher witnessing a student's breakthrough. Humanity learned long ago that systemic issues are best resolved by becoming a part of the system, not through conquest or demolition, but through guidance, ensuring the right choices are made by the right individuals at the right moments. And if those individuals are absent? Captain Mauve asked, his voice betraying his apprehension. Then, Elara said with the offhand casualness of someone discussing routine paperwork, you simply create them. The heights you can reach when you truly grasp bureaucracy are astounding. A nudge here, a reassignment there, a well-timed departure. And suddenly, the right people are in the right places. Influencers, it seemed, were those adept at astute judgment. A palpable understanding rippled through the assembled diplomats. Their evening's discourse had proven far deeper than anticipated. The chilling realization dawned, conveying to their superiors that galactic autonomy was perhaps more fragile than previously conceived. Dr. Blackwood, Ambassador Thex Corvani began, his voice betraying his reluctance. What fate awaits those who defy this council? R's smile widened, a stark reminder of humanity's evolutionary success as apex predators. Non-compliance is remarkably infrequent. It's astonishing how amenable minds become when enlightened with exhaustive data. She paused, head cocked thoughtfully. Though occasionally some souls necessitate a more immersive curriculum. Yourself, for example. The ambassador's 8 limbs locked, paralyzed, his mind screaming for stillness, hoping to avoid the predator's gaze that illuminated his predicament with such disarming clarity. Indeed, your species' interaction with the stars has been challenging. Your pronouncements of inherent hierarchy and racial dominance, archaic notions, wholly incompatible with galactic unity. A warmth touched R's face, which is precisely why I volunteered for this cultural exchange. I sensed you could profit from bespoke instruction. The enormity of her words crashed into Ambassador Thex Corvani's awareness like a rogue asteroid. Bespoke instruction? Precisely. I'm authorized to present you with a selection of enthralling research roles. Kepler 4 and 42b seeks a xenological expert, since the former personnel have been reassigned. Vega requires a coordinator with your diplomatic flair to manage the refugee crisis. And, for those seeking human methodologies, Terra Xenobiology Institute welcomes aiguë et learners. The ambassador stared, the unassuming woman offering him exile, professional demise, or living dissection. And should I refuse these opportunities? Oh, inadvisable, R cautioned, her tone laced with worry. Our galaxy thrives on interdependence, countless systems entwined, networks requiring delicate harmony. It would be a profound tragedy if anyone's unwillingness to embrace galactic unity led to widespread failures. The sentiment was expressed with such genuine warmth, it took a moment to grasp the icy intent beneath. They're catching on finally. Ambassador Thex Corvani's deeply ingrained survival instincts crushed every last bit of his diplomatic ego. The Terra Xenobiology Institute sounds intriguing, he managed, his voice barely audible. Exceptional choice. Ara's face lit up, radiating sincere joy. I believe you'll find the experience exceptionally enlightening. It's amazing what truths emerge when you examine interspecies dynamics through rigorous scientific inquiry. She turned to the assembled delegates, her smile now the self-satisfied expression of a deal-maker after sealing a lucrative agreement. I strongly encourage you to share our discussions with your governing bodies. It's vital that everyone grasps the true essence of galactic collaboration. The delegates nodded with a fervor born of realizing that their very survival hinged on convincing their superiors that humanity's interpretation of collaboration brooked no debate. 6 months later, the Serenity sliced through the void on another delicate diplomatic mission, its crystalline hull shimmering with starlight in a display that would have been awe-inspiring had anyone spared a moment from the urgent business of preserving galactic equilibrium. Within the ship's xenobiology lab, Dr. Ara Blackwood murmured softly as she delved into her newest research, periodically guiding her eager, freshly minted research assistant. Ambassador Thex Corvani had shown surprising resilience in embracing his new purpose, even if his data analysis still demanded constant oversight. "Dr. Blackwood," he began carefully, his translator conveying his chirps with the earnest politeness of one well-versed in workplace decorum. "Preliminary conclusions regarding hegemony social assimilation protocols are ready for your consideration." "Splendid," Ara responded, her voice filled with delight. "I am particularly drawn to your comparative study of hierarchical versus cooperative decision-making frameworks, such compelling data for analyses of political development." She paused, a thoughtful expression crossing her face. "Oh, and Ambassador, I hear the Terror Institute has another opening. It seems a Centauran trade emissary seeks a deeper understanding of human economic practices. Captain Morvick specifically requested placement within our research unit." Thex Corvani's multifaceted eyes registered the unmistakable signals of further expanded educational prospects. "Should I ready the assimilation procedures, Doctor?" "Yes, and be certain to emphasize the program's entirely voluntary character in all reports. It's truly vital that each person grasps the profound importance we place on genuine informed consent within our research practices." Ara turned back to her tasks, softly humming a melody akin to a lullaby. However, its translated words would have unveiled that it was actually a song of power. Ah, that old Terran military cadence extolling the virtues of measured patience. The galaxy, after all, sprawled vast and intricate, teeming with remarkable species ripe for the rewards of astute tutelage. And humanity, as the cosmos now seemed to grasp, possessed an extraordinary gift for mentorship.